In today's episode, we're going to talk about how much it costs for two people to live in a van like this for 1 week. We're Erin and Brandon, an engaged couple who for nearly a year and a half now have been living alternatively. We spent 8 months working and traveling around South America and India before the pandemic brought us home in March. Not knowing when we could travel internationally again, in May we bought a Ram ProMaster and spent the summer custom designing and building this cargo van into a camper van so that we could attempt to visit every national park in the continental United States. So far, it's been 3 months on the road, and we've really surprised ourselves how much we really do love living out of a van.
I'd just like to say that all budgets are not the same. Some people spend much less, much more, depending on their lifestyles. And also, we just chose an arbitrary week that seemed like a good van life week. So the data we're taking is from this 1 week. It doesn't represent every week of our lives or every week of van life, but this is what we've got.
One thing we really love about van life is that it gives you freedom. You could be as luxurious as you want to be. You can be as budget. There's so many different types of ways you can live this life. It really gives you a lot of flexibility, and we've been enjoying it for the past 3 months.
Without further ado, we're going to get into our monthly fixed costs. So every month we've got certain costs that come up, like our cell phone bill, car payment, car insurance, and our LTE router. I took those monthly payments and I broke them down into what they cost for a week, just so that you can get a full picture of what we're spending in a week. Not just our spending, but also our fixed costs. Our cell phone bill is $44.92 per week. Our car payment is $81.44. Our car insurance is $47.70, and our LTE router is $34.38 per week, bringing us to a total fixed cost per week of $208.44. These fixed costs may vary depending on what your lifestyle is. For us, we really need an LTE router in the van, so that's a pretty big cost that we incur, but we need Wi-Fi when we're traveling.
Because Brandon works remotely, and because we have to upload videos.
Exactly.
Speaking of videos, if you are interested in our type of content, give us a thumbs up. It helps with the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, make that thumb blue. Another thing is you may not have a car payment if you were to buy your van outright, but we financed our van, so we do have a car payment. So these monthly fixed costs may be higher or lower depending on your lifestyle. Quickly, we're going to go through the days, what we spent our money on, and then at the end we'll just kind of break down and analyze what this looks like over the course of a month. If you took out certain things, what the budget would be. Here we go.
Get ready for some numbers. So you have to remember our road trip is a national park road trip. So back in August, we bought a national park pass. So when we go into parks, we don't have to pay for anything, which is really, really great. And I definitely highly recommend it if you are going to a lot of national parks within a year. So I would say a lot of our money goes to gas because we have to get from point A to point B. So for example, on Tuesday of this week, we spent $53.54 just on gas alone for 1 day. We also had breakfast out that day, which I would say that is kind of normal for us to either do one meal out or one takeout out a week. We did spend $39 on that. Bit of a hefty breakfast payment.
Yeah, kind of an expensive day for us, but you got to do what you got to do if you need that good breakfast.
Right.
So for Wednesday, we spent $26.60 on gas. Ronnie, you are a gas guzzler.
Thursday, good news. Zilch. We didn't spend any money. I don't remember what we were doing on this day.
We must have been in a national park because when we're in a park, we've got the park pass. We don't spend any money. We make our own food in the van. And so it was a free day.
It's a great day.
Finally, moving on to Friday. And we stayed at a KOA campground this night, which cost us $22.85. Every once in a while, we stay at a campground because we need a shower, we need to fill up our water tank. Often, we spend our time on BLM land or National Forest land, which is free. And that's a great way to save money when you're living in a van. But every once in a while, you need a hot shower. Let's be real.
I would say a lot of times when we go to KOAs, they are more expensive than this one was. maybe $40, $50 a night. KOAs can get pretty pricey, but a reason why we did stay at this one is because it had great reviews and because it was pretty affordable.
And also on this Friday, we spent $37.54 on gas.
You're probably wondering, okay, you cook in the van, you haven't spent any money on groceries yet. Saturday, we went shopping and we spent $62.70, which I think is pretty average for us on a week. We normally will go shopping to the grocery store once, maybe twice a week, and we're spending about $60 a week on our groceries. Remember, there's only 2 of us. We're not feeding a family. We also that Saturday bought a national park magnet, which cost us $7. Lastly, on Saturday, you guessed it, gas. We spent $16.84 on gas. You might be thinking, what's up with these random amounts? Sometimes when we find a really cheap gas station, we'll just stop and fill up half the tank, because when we're driving around from different states, it really, really varies on how expensive or affordable gas can be.
Also, we're driving in a lot of areas that are like the middle of nowhere, and you don't know when you're going to find a gas station next. So before we head into a park, usually we stop, get gas, even if we're like 3/4 of a tank, just to fill it up and make sure that we don't get stranded. So then Sunday, another nothing day. Zilch, nothing, nada. We probably went into a park and just ate food that we had and stayed on BLM land. So
good for us.
Good for us. You know,
Twice in 1 week.
You really can save money when you're living in a van.
On Monday, we actually ordered a heater and jumper cables from Walmart that we went and picked up, which cost us $41.96. I would say normally we don't spend a lot of extra money on van life kind of fixings.
That was all up front. Like building the van, we spent a lot of money getting everything ready, and since then we haven't really had to spend a lot fixing up the van or getting improvements, but here and there.
It's been really cold, so we got a heater, and we recently had to help jump somebody, or try to at least, and we realized we don't have jumper cables, so we just figured it's something that you should probably have.
Definitely. It was an oversight.
Also on this day, we went to a Harvest Toast, which was a winery, and we bought 2 bottles of wine and spent $41.94. I would say on average between Harvest Toasts or just stopping in a brewery or something, we are having those little extra splurges.
So if you're interested in Harvest Toast, we've got a link below for 15% off if you want to join the membership. There's a yearly fee. I think it's about $68. And then you have access for an entire year to all these different Harvest Toast locations all over the U.S. That could be wineries, breweries, whatever. It's really useful. And we've stayed at so many at this point. It's like very, very inexpensive to stay at these, so we didn't even put in that cost.
The one thing that they ask is that you support local and buy something. We didn't have to buy 2 bottles of wine, but the wine was very good.
It was very
good.
We did.
Also on Monday, we passed one of Brandon's favorite all-time establishments.
It's almost a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Chipotle.
We passed it, and when we stopped. But it was only $15.26 for 2 burrito bowls, which if you were to buy that in New York City, it would have been like $22. So, last thing we spent on Monday.
Drum roll.
Gas.
We spent $26.40 on gas, and that finishes out the week. So you might be wondering, wow, you just put a lot of numbers on the screen.
Did you have your calculator out?
Yeah. We're expecting you to count these, but just in case we did the math ourselves, we spent during this week outside of our fixed costs $391.77, which combined with our fixed costs brings us to the total of $600.21 for the week. I think this is kind of an average number for us. We just chose a random week where we're van-lifing pretty hard, traveling a lot.
Van-lifing pretty hard.
Van-lifing pretty hard. As I said, the week is $600.21. That brings a month out to be $2,691. And if you extrapolate that out to a year, it would be $31,210.92. So this number seems very large, but this is your rent. This is everything.
If you think about how much you spend on an apartment or on your mortgage, in addition to your car insurance, in addition to all your groceries and everything, for 2 people.
Exactly. That's another thing. It's for 2 people. So if you were to break this down for 1 person, it would be less. We got 2 mouths to feed.
And he's really hungry.
I eat a lot.
Yeah.
Now, we also broke down the numbers if you do own your van and you don't get the LTE router. So you don't have those 2 fixed costs per month. In this case, per week, it would cost you $484.38. For the month, it would be $2,000 and for the year it would be $25,188. So you can see, even just with 2 fixed costs taken out from the month, that you can save a lot of money. Budgets will vary a lot. This is just an example of our life, 1 week from our life, and how that would extrapolate.
Now, to put some things into perspective, outside of the fixed cost, 41% of our expenses was just on gas alone.
Just gas. So if you're traveling a lot in the van, you're going to be spending a lot of money on gas, unfortunately. It's just the way it is.
I think a lot of people in van life, they'll stay somewhere for a longer amount of time. Maybe they'll find a really good BLM spot or a national forest spot and stay there for 5 days, a week. For us, we've been traveling pretty swiftly, and we're changing spots every other day, if not every single day. So we are spending a lot of money on gas.
That's a hack. If you want to save money in van life, slow travel. I think if you want to save money traveling at all, slow travel. It's always the answer, but you can really save a lot of cash on gas.
In summary, the really cool thing about van life is that we do get to live alternatively, which has kind of become a bit of a theme for us.
Definitely.
While we are still working and we're still bringing in money, thankfully, we're not in a 9-to-5. I think especially in these times, a lot of people are working remotely right now. So you could make this your lifestyle, whether you make a van or buy a converted van and use it for weekend trips, or maybe you just want to hit the road for a couple of months at a time. I feel like living alternatively has really impacted our lives, not only just with van life, but when we were slow traveling in South America and India and working and changing our views of what life could be.
I think van life is all about taking the leap, jumping into the unknown. Your backyard changes every day if you want it to. You're exploring, you're adventuring. It's really a great way to live alternatively. That's a good segue into the fact that our merch, Traveling Atlas Live Alternatively, is actually going to be on sale for Black Friday. So be looking out for a nice, juicy deal on our merchandise if you're interested in that. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, stay tuned, and live alternatively.